So I was at Toronto Film Festival and I saw a bunch of movies. Some of them are apparently coming out very soon, so let's talk about them. One movie I saw was Can You Ever Forgive Me, starring Melissa McCarthy. I gotta say, it is quite the filmmaking achievement to have a movie starring Melissa McCarthy where she doesn't fall down. Jokes aside, she was actually pretty good in this movie, although she wasn't so spectacular that the entire movie could ride off of her performance or anything. Unfortunately, every other actor was just fine, I guess. Nobody else really stood out, and all of the other performances felt really sitcom quality. The movie was competently shot, I guess, but nothing special there. The music was overbearing, annoying, and inappropriate. Aside from Melissa McCarthy's performance, which, as I said, is nothing mind-blowing, the only other thing going for this movie is the story, which, if you've seen the trailer, you've already seen. I watched this movie last month, and quite honestly, I kinda forgot it existed. I wasn't left with a negative experience leaving the theater or anything, it was just kinda forgettable. It's a perfectly fine, inoffensive, unchallenging movie. A lot of people will probably enjoy it, but over time it will be quickly forgotten. I really wish I had more to say about this. It was just really simple, repetitive, and cheesy. And I can't say I was able to relate to the main character all that much. She's kind of a bad person, and the movie doesn't really do a good job of justifying any of her behaviors, which is something you might want to do for this kind of tone in your film, because it never really felt like this was any kind of a character study. The entire tone of the film presents itself as though you're supposed to like her and feel sorry for her, but all things considered, it's kind of difficult for me, and the overbearing music didn't really help with this factor. Anyway, check this one out if you're going to a movie theater with a family member who doesn't really want to see anything challenging, and they're like, oh, hey, what's that? It's Melissa McCarthy, and then you're like, okay, because, it's not going to be bad, it's just going to be kind of forgettable. And I'm giving this one a 5 or 6 out of 10, I can't decide. It's not a 4, it's not bad, it's just... yeah. Another movie I saw was Wildlife, directed by Paul Dano. I always thought his name was pronounced Paul Dano, but at the festival they called him Paul Dano when they introduced him on stage, so I guess that's what his name sounds like. Now, I love Paul Dano's acting. Not only does he deliver great performances, but he seems to have a great choice of roles as well. There's a huge amount of actors out there that decide to take a stab at directing because they've been on so many film sets already that they figure, why not? Fuck it, I know what I'm doing, it looks easy. Some of these films turn out pretty great, but others like this film turn out kinda bad. First of all, the movie was not really well shot, it kinda looked like shit, the color palette was ugly. I'm pretty sure there was music in the film, but I don't remember anything about it, so that says something. Carey Mulligan's performance was probably the best part of this movie. I mean, she did an absolutely fantastic job. Probably one of the best performances I've seen all year. Jake Gyllenhaal was just Jake Gyllenhaal, I guess. He wasn't bad, but this definitely wasn't one of his more notable performances. His performance in this movie was basically indistinguishable from his performance in Brothers, which quite honestly this movie feels very similar to. This is basically like Brothers, but it's not as funny, although it is equally, if not more, forced and annoying. The motivations for these characters are just so fucking poorly presented. There's so many points in this movie where a character makes a major decision, and it just feels like, okay, I guess they decided to do this now for some reason. Sometimes it's outright comical. It often seems as though the film just throws things in out of nowhere. There's so many times where it was impossible not to ask, why the fuck are you doing this? Why? This movie's kind of just all over the place, honestly, which is quite an achievement for only really having 3 characters. It was over halfway through the movie where I realized, oh, I guess I'm supposed to be experiencing this through Ed Oxenbold's character? Which is kind of a shitty conclusion to come to considering he had no character, and he didn't really do a great job performing him or anything. At least he wasn't rapping this time. Every single character in the movie is just an annoying idiot. I hated every single one of them. They're all stupid assholes. And this film presents itself as though it's somehow not aware of its own twisted sense of morality. By the end of the movie, it's like, okay, what the fuck did they learn? It was just so stupid and annoying. Every time this movie tried to force in drama or attempt some level of poignancy was just so fucking unbearable. Quite honestly, the movie was pretentious as shit. And I don't say that often, even though coincidentally I said that a couple weeks ago. And I sincerely hope it stays that way. Check this one out if you want to see a really great performance by Carey Mulligan, I guess. Hopefully the rest of the movie doesn't annoy you too much like it did me. And I'm giving this one a 4 out of 10.